Thanks for being here. Today, we remember someone, let's just call him Mark. He grew up just outside Columbus, loved boneless wings, Monday Night Football, and ordering random junk off Amazon at 2 a.m. His proudest achievement? A tweet that got 14,000 likes. He printed it out, framed it. He always said he'd do a cross-country road trip, never made it past Indianapolis, had a bucket list in his notes app, most of it said TBD, bought a camera once to start a YouTube channel, never opened the box. 7 years later, still had the Best Buy sticker on it. He said he'd propose when the timing felt right. She didn't wait. Mark lived to 66. But if we're being honest, he started checking out around 28. Not in some dramatic way, just quietly, daily. He kept saying, "I'll get around to it." Turns out, he ran out of around. And maybe the scariest part? He didn't choose a mediocre life. He just drifted into one not yet at a time. See, mediocrity doesn't mean failing. It just means settling. Middle of the road, 5 out of 10. Not terrible, just invisible. And that's what really haunts people. Not death, not struggle, but the idea they'll go their whole life and never really live. Drifting through the years, numbed by screens and caffeine, scrolling TikTok while their 20s disappear into pixels. We're not afraid of being broke, we're afraid of being forgotten. Because here's the truth. Settling is accepting less than what you know you deserve. And most people don't settle all at once. They do it in soft, quiet ways. A job that drains them, a dream they shelf, a relationship that feels fine, not because they're weak, but because somewhere along the way, the world told them to aim lower, stay safe, don't rock the boat. So if you've ever had that sinking feeling, like life is happening around you, and you're stuck in the background, this video is for you. We're going to talk about that fear, where it comes from, why it's so real, and how to stop it from deciding your story. Because mediocrity doesn't feel like a fall, it feels like a slow leak. And the only way to fix it is to notice it before everything's drained. The thing about mediocrity is, it's not some universal, obvious thing. It's not a paycheck amount or how many followers you have. It's quiet, slippery, personal. For one person, mediocrity is wasting their life at a desk job in a soulless office. For another, it's living in the countryside with no noise, no traffic, just the wind and a garden. Same life, totally different story. The truth is, you define what mediocrity means to you. That's the terrifying part, and the freeing part too. You can look successful in every way America measures success. A clean apartment, a decent paycheck, friends who clap for you, parents who tell people you're doing well. But none of that matters if you wake up every morning with that dull, heavy feeling in your chest, the one that whispers, "This isn't me." Thomas Merton said it perfectly. People may spend their whole lives climbing the ladder of success, only to find once they reach the top that it was leaning against the wrong wall. And honestly, that's how a lot of people slide into mediocrity, not through failure, but through autopilot. The day school ends, most people stop learning. They stop being curious. They stop trying things they might be bad at. They trade wonder for routine, and they don't even notice themselves shrinking, inch by inch. But real growth has nothing to do with classrooms. It comes from messy stuff, heartbreak, screw-ups, bad decisions, late-night realizations when you can't sleep. Growth comes from looking at your own reflection on a random Tuesday and admitting, yeah, something's off. Learning is not always easy, but it's rarely something we regret. And that's true whether you're 19 or 49. Because if you're not growing, not becoming, then even if everything looks fine on the outside, something inside you starts to go quiet. And that silence? That's where mediocrity lives. See, defining mediocrity is one thing, but facing it, that's where it starts to burn. It's easy to shrug off the word when it's just a vague insult online or something your boss throws around in a meeting. But once you realize what it means in the context of your own life, the dreams you keep shelving, the version of you that never fully showed up, that's when it stops being just a word. That's when it becomes a mirror, and maybe that's the part that really scares us. Not the idea of being average, but the quiet knowing that we're already living that way, and pretending not to notice. Some of that fear goes way back, like caveman deep. We're wired to care about our place in the tribe. Because back then, if you weren't useful or noticed, you got left behind. No food, no fire, no one watching your back. That hardwiring didn't disappear. Now we just translate it into social status, job titles, how many people like our vacation photos. In a world that moves this fast, average starts to feel like invisible, and invisible feels like death. Then there's the algorithm, the one on your phone feeding you highlight reels 24/7. Every day you scroll past people who are younger, hotter, richer, more confident, more put together. And yeah, maybe part of you knows it's fake, but your brain doesn't care. It still feels like you're falling behind in a race you didn't even sign up for. Comparison is the thief of joy, right? Yeah, but it's also the thief of momentum. You start believing that unless your life looks like theirs, it doesn't count. And here's the darkest part, the one no one likes to say out loud. We're not scared of being broke, we're scared of being forgotten. Not leaving a mark, not even a smudge, just passing through, quietly. It is not death that a man should fear, Marcus Aurelius wrote, but he should fear never beginning to live. We've all had those moments when we could have said yes, but didn't. Could have taken the risk, but scrolled past it. And if we're honest, that's the fear we carry. Not that we'll lose, but that we'll never even show up for the game. It's not just the fear of being average that eats at us. It's the weight of knowing we could do more, be more, and still we don't move. And that's the most painful part. It's not that life is holding us back. It's that, most of the time, we're the ones keeping ourselves small. Let's be real. There's usually no dramatic villain stopping us from chasing the life we want. No monster at the gates. Just quiet fears and quiet routines. And maybe the saddest thing is how normal that becomes. How easy it is to confuse being comfortable with being alive. So why don't we act? Let's start with fear. Fear is the big one. Not always loud, sometimes it just whispers. What if I'm not good enough? What if I try and it doesn't work? What if I lose what I already have? Fear's job is to protect you, sure, but when protection turns into paralysis, you're not living, you're hiding. As Stephen Pressfield said, resistance will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. Resistance is always lying and always full of shit. Then there's this quiet lie we've been fed, that the power to change our lives is somewhere out there, in a degree, a promotion, someone's approval. But the truth? Power's not external, it's internal, it's yours. The ability to imagine a different life and then believe in it enough to build it. That's the core. James Allen once wrote, "You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you." But here's the thing. It's hard to believe in something better when, deep down, you don't believe you deserve better. That's low self-worth and it's everywhere. Maybe it started in school, at home, in a throwaway comment that stuck. Who do you think you are? And somewhere along the line, we believed it. But worthiness isn't earned by approval. It's reclaimed by choice. And what about people-pleasing? So many of us shrink ourselves just to stay likable. We abandon our voice, our gut, our truth, all for the illusion of peace. But you weren't born to be liked. You were born to be true, even if it's messy, even if it makes people uncomfortable. Another reason we stay stuck? We forget how to imagine. Not dream big, just dream different. If you can't picture a better life, how will you ever start walking toward it? That's why imagination isn't childish, it's survival. And finally, we resist change. We treat it like a threat instead of what it really is, the only guarantee in life. There's a story about a couple on a cruise ship caught in a violent storm. While chaos broke out around them, chairs flying, glasses shattering, they sat in stillness and meditated. Not because they were fearless, but because they knew peace doesn't come from control. It comes from how you show up when everything around you falls apart. All of this, fear, low self-worth, comfort, distraction, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But don't let human become an excuse to live halfway. Your life won't wait forever, and no one's coming to push you. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Most people aren't stuck because they don't know what to do, they're stuck because doing it feels terrifying. Because deep down, they know once they move, there's no going back to pretending everything's fine. But there comes a moment, usually quiet, usually inconvenient, when something inside you whispers, "This isn't it." And if you listen close enough, that whisper becomes a choice. So let's talk about escape. Not the quit your job, sell everything, live in Bali kind. I mean the real kind. The kind that happens from the inside out. The kind where you stop living for optics and start living for truth. Not to impress anyone, not to go viral, but because staying numb just isn't cutting it anymore. 1. Face the fear anyway. Here's the hard truth. Fear doesn't go away. You just learn to walk with it. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being seen trying, they never leave. But neither does the quiet ache of not doing anything at all. You're going to get your heart broken, you're going to get told no, you'll apply to jobs that ghost you, you'll put yourself out there and fall flat on your face, and guess what? That's still better than going numb. Because if the cost of trying is pain, the cost of never trying is regret. And that's a bill you'll pay for the rest of your life. 2. Redefine mediocrity for yourself. You don't need a six-figure income or a blue check to feel alive. You just need to stop living someone else's version of success. Maybe for you, it's quitting the job that's slowly killing you. Maybe it's finally picking up the guitar again. Maybe it's moving out of your hometown or letting go of what your parents wanted you to be. Mediocrity isn't living small. It's living wrong. And your life doesn't come with a scoreboard. There are no points. So pick something worth struggling for, something that actually matters to you. Even if nobody claps, even 1% up your own mountain beats 100% up someone else's. 3. Be delusional enough to believe. Let's be honest, most people never change their lives because they never really believe they can. But belief is where everything starts. You don't wait for proof before acting, you act, and that creates the proof. You have to be just a little delusional. You have to say, I don't know how this will work, but I believe I'll figure it out. That identity shift from someone who watches life happen to someone who makes life happen. That's where the real power lives. If you never believe it's possible, it isn't. 4. Win the small battles. Here's a secret. Mediocrity doesn't show up as one big failure. It shows up in the little stuff. It's one more hour of scrolling when you said you'd write. It's skipping the gym again because it's just one day. It's eating whatever's fastest instead of what fuels you. Tiny decisions stacked day after day shape your future. And every now and then, you'll look in the mirror and realize that future already arrived. Quietly, while you weren't looking. Heaven isn't a place, it's knowing you lived your way, even just a little. 5. Dare to be different. Most people settle, not because they're lazy, but because they're scared to stand out. They stay in jobs they hate, relationships they've outgrown, cities that drain them, all because it's normal. But normal isn't working. So don't chase normal, chase honest. If you want to live differently, you'll have to act differently. You'll have to be the person who says no thanks to the party, who goes to therapy, who wakes up early to build something no one else sees yet. You don't have to be loud, just intentional. Because the truth is, most people are just surviving, but you can choose to live. Maybe you saw a bit of Mark in yourself. Most of us do. Not because we're lazy, but because drifting is easy and dreaming out loud is terrifying. But here's the truth no one says out loud. You don't need to live a big life. You just need to live your life, fully, honestly, while you still can. So dust off the dream, send the text, book the flight, write the first messy page. Because the scariest thing isn't dying. It's never showing up to the one life that was meant for you. And the clock, it's already ticking.